Hey guys, Brett Alegre-Wood, Chairman of YPC Group and author of the best-selling book, The 3+1 Plan. What I want to do today, I want to start off by offering you a gift. And the gift is a copy of my book, The Emotional Intelligence. It's 16 lessons on how to overcome the emotional barriers faced whilst building a portfolio. And I guess if I was to explain this book, this is, you see these dummies book. This is the book for beginners, okay? It goes through the basic stuff that almost every single person starting off in property is going to go through. These are the emotional barriers they're going to face. And it articulates them. It's hard-hitting, punching. I actually wrote this in one night, yeah? And it's not a big book, it's not a huge book, but what it does is it articulates the 16 biggest things that I saw clients dealing with all the time, yeah, and having to overcome. And so what I do is I just smash all the myths around. I just blow out the deceptive practices. I just really upfront, straight to the point, get to this. And look, what I really want to sort of get across to you guys, and I want to go through a few of the points that are in this book, because today what I want to do is give you a copy of this book. So you can just click the button, download it, have a read of it, because what it's really going to do, you've got the 3+1 plan already, hopefully. With this is the emotional side. So I've actually written this into a full book, which should be out on the bookshelves. But effectively, this is the shortened version of it. This was the first bit. This was so successful, so interesting, and people love it. I get huge comments about this. So, if you do one thing, have a read of it. It only takes about, an hour to read through. But what it will do, especially if you're just starting out, or especially if you're just being exposed to the UK market, then it'll give you what you need to move forward and take, those bold steps. So look, what I want to do is pull a few of the lessons out of this. So, the first lesson, your property will rent out. This is probably one of the biggest fears that people have around property. And look, the interesting thing is we have a guarantee, which I've mentioned previously, the 2-year rent guarantee. I know that any property you buy through us, we will have a tenant for it every single time within 6 weeks. And if we don't, it's because we've done something wrong as opposed to something being wrong with the property. And I have that much certainty about that I guarantee it. Now, most people starting out are going to be sitting there going, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know the market, but what happens if this happens? And the practicality is that most people going into the market, 3 months is what it's going to take when they first buy a property and have to rent it out. 3 months. Why? Because the agents either are incompetent or the rent's too high. The process is not getting managed properly. So we talk you through the solutions to this, but even by raising your awareness around it, you'll see just how simple it is to rent properties out, and why I can guarantee that within 6 weeks you will have a tenant every single time, okay? So that's the first chapter, or the first lesson that we learn, okay, out of the book. The second lesson, interest rates will go up, all right? Now this is not something, what you've got to realise, in this industry there's lots of sales. There's also what I call hype and BS, okay? And the problem is most people will look at what interest rates are now, they neglect what interest rates are going to do. Well, that's ridiculous. Interest rates will go up. Now, sure, if they're at the height, but the fact is what we do is we do a 2-year cash flow on every single property, and this is not just the properties you've bought through us. This is properties across your whole portfolio, because we want to have a look at the whole portfolio. And by doing that, and doing that over a 2-year period, we can much better see how your cash flow is placed. Because let's face it, if prices go down, that doesn't mean you lose the property. But if your cash flow isn't enough for you to pay the mortgage, you're going to get the property repossessed. And that's not what we want. So we don't want making decisions based on low interest rates now that could potentially go up and tip you over the edge. And so, this lesson just raises your awareness that interest rates will go up. Absolutely, 100%. Now that's not what a normal salesperson will say, but hey, I'm not a normal salesperson, and that's what you'll find about a lot of this stuff is, forget the salesperson. Now, the flip side of that is lesson 8, and I'll jump ahead to lesson 8, and I'll come back to lesson 7 in a sec. Lesson 8 is everyone is a salesperson. So everyone you speak to, including myself, act as if they're a salesperson. They're a ravenous dog trying to get their next meal. They are trying to sell your property. Make no mistake, okay? And when you understand this, you can be much more open to what they're saying, and you can put it through the filter of, hold on, they're trying to make a commission out of this. They may not have my best interest at heart. Perhaps I should do more research, check what they're saying, and really just settle down and not jump in emotionally, because far too many people I see, especially if you're buying in exhibitions and things like that, people are buying based on emotion. They shouldn't be. They should be buying based on good, solid fundamentals, yeah? They should have a systematic process for actually buying property, and that's what we give here at YPC. Okay, so everyone as a salesperson, be aware of it. You've been warned now, the book will explain it. Like lesson 7, alright? When everyone zigs, you zag. Now what this means is, this is what they call contrarian theory in some books. But effectively what it's saying is, when everyone else is selling, you buy. If you do the opposite to what the herd does, yeah, you're more than likely to make money. Now, look, this is one of these age-old principles, and I can tell you it works 100%. Okay, so you being aware of this and understanding how the market, the property trend cycle works, by understanding that, you can now zig when others zag. You can now go left when others go right. Buy when people sell. All right, and that way you maximise the return on investment. Okay, lesson 10. Yeah, rich and educated get richer. Poor and uneducated get poorer. Now, you'll see that I use slightly different terms. Normally you say rich get richer, poor get poorer. I don't think it's a case of rich get richer and poor get poorer, because there is some choice in there. And for me, the distinction between rich and poor has nothing to do with money, even though that may be the outwardly view of it. In actual fact, it has to do with education. Because in property, there's so much free education. You go onto my website and you read every single blog, over 1,000 of them, watch over 80 hours of video, you put all that together, you're going to come out the other end highly educated. Now, albeit academically educated, all right, and what we're talking about here is the emotions of investing. So the only way you're going to grow your emotions is by putting the book learning and the actual sheer practical experience of doing it, all right? And so you need both of those. But make no mistake, when I talk about rich people, I'm talking about rich and educated. And normally when I talk about poor people, poor and uneducated. Because in my experience, there's not too many exceptions to that rule. And even if there is, it's because they won the lotto or something like that. And don't worry, give them time, they'll get back to being poor and uneducated. Right, so this is a choice. You have a choice, and that's what that lesson learning teaches us. So, lesson 14. Searching for the perfect property deal. Now this is the biggest cause for procrastination. You want the best mortgage, you want the best area, you want the best interest rate, you want the best aspects, you want the all this sort of stuff. You're looking for the perfect property. Well, I've been doing this almost 20 years and I'm still yet to find the perfect property. Okay? Never have I ever found it. My portfolio is built up with very imperfect properties. All of them have something that I would say, that's not perfect. But the fact is, I still make money, all right? So at some point, you've got to let go of the perfect property side of things. Yeah? And once you build your emotional intelligence, and you build your emotions, you'll start to realise that you can't hold on to that, and it's not worthwhile holding on to that. Okay, so final lesson. So lesson 16. And look, you'll hear me harp on about this. I call myself a lifestyle company rather than a property company. Lesson 16, lifestyle is the only reason to build a portfolio. If you're buying property just for the sake of buying property, well, I tell you, pretty quickly, that steam's going to run out. If you want to be passionate, if you want to get up in the morning, if you want to bounce out of bed, if you want a purpose in life, then you've got to find what that is, what the lifestyle is you want to leave. This is all about purpose. This is all about going beyond the bricks and mortar, going beyond the door handles and roofs, going beyond the property and getting down to really what it is you want to do and achieve with your life. And that's part of what we offer here. Okay, so just sort of recapping, because there's sort of some lessons, all right, that I talk about in the book. But really, look, what we do with this whole emotional side, and look, it's one of my favourite subjects, okay? But really what we're here to do is hold your hand every step of the way, okay? Whatever your position. So you could be starting off, this is your first property, you've never owned a property before, or you could have 20, 30, 50 properties. Wherever you are, what we're going to do is firstly set a goal, okay? So we're going to start looking at, and what do you want to achieve? That's that lifestyle aspect, all right? We're then going to create a plan to achieve that goal. Yeah? Then what we're going to do is focus on a strategy, because you can have a plan, but then there's lots within that plan. There can be lots of ways you're doing it. And this is one of the mistakes I see lots of people make, is they start off, they buy a property here and a property here and a property here and a property here, and this type of property, that type of property, and they end up with what I call a dinner party portfolio. One of the most damaging type of portfolios you can have. It's a bit of everything at the dinner table, it tastes great, but in reality, you're not maximising your return on investment. We'll give you a core strategy and we'll focus you in on that core strategy, okay? Because that's what we need to achieve. We're then going to monitor and review it on a regular basis. Now that could mean that you come and you sit down with us face to face every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, whatever you need to achieve the goal that you've set, okay? We're here, whether it be phone, email, through seminars, this is the whole thing. We're there with you, standing right beside you, holding your hand every step of the way. And the whole thing for me, I'll come back to this education side of things. Every bit of education that we've got is free. You're not going to pay for it. It's there. You can read about it. You can watch it on video. I'm passionate about getting this information out there. It's not my information. Sure, I may have called it a few, whiz-bang names. I may have written it into a book sort of thing. But most of this stuff is lessons from my clients, it's lessons from my mentors, and it's lessons from you guys that I learn and that I learn in my own portfolio as I grow my portfolio. So, this is not stuff that I can proprietary say it's mine and nobody else can use it. Actually, it's everyone's. It's out there. What you need to do is just internalize it and add the emotions, the emotional development, the emotional intelligence to it. So guys, look, I encourage you, download the book, have a read of it. It's not going to take very long, but I can guarantee you, at the end of it, you'll have a smile on your face and you'll think that was a bloody good book. Okay guys, have a great day, and remember, live with passion.